And a very good evening to you. Welcome to Politics 101 on a Thursday evening. And a wonderful time to be a Guyanese and a West Indian because we get to partake in shaping the society that we live in. In this new age of technology, we can hold hands across the water and speak truth to power and get those in power going crazy. Good evening to all of you and welcome to Politics 101. Welcome to Politics 101. If you're joining us from Guyana, welcome. If you're joining us from the wider Caribbean, welcome. If you're joining us from the wider diaspora in North America, in Europe, in Africa, welcome. This is the place to be at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock in the evening. Of course, at 8 o'clock, it's Sherrod, Duncan, and at 9 o'clock, Brother Mark Ben Shop. And early in the morning, of course, Kedaki Amsterdam is on. And then I think early in the afternoon, there are a number of programs hosted by members of the People's National Congress. Well, it's been a busy day. Our guest tonight is going to be Robin Simon, political prisoner. She's not in jail, but she's held captive. Her right to travel has been taken away. They're seeking to criminalize her, and so she's a political prisoner in that sense. And she's also a martyr of our revolution, because we are fighting a revolution. We are fighting a struggle to bring about transformational change in our society. And the obstacle to that transformational change is the government that is in power, the People's Progressive Party government. They are the obstacle to economic freedom, economic development. They are the obstacle to political maturity. They're the obstacle to racial solidarity. And we cannot carry the PPP any longer on our backs. The PPP has to go. They have to go. They have to go. That is clear. That is clear. The most authoritarian government in the post-colonial history of the Caribbean, not just Guyana, the Caribbean. And we as a region have seen our fair share of authoritarianism, but this government, this PPP, takes the cake. By far the worst. By far the worst. Good evening to you. Good evening. Good evening, Linden. Good evening, Enterprise. Good evening, Port Morant. Because our struggle to free up Guyana, all Guyanese would benefit from it, regardless of political affiliation, ethnicity, all Guyanese will benefit. When we eventually get real cash transfers, not cash grants, cash transfers, from 10% of the oil money given to each household, regardless of ethnicity and political affiliation. It's estimated that there are about 220,000 households in Guyana. When we get that, as I said, it's for everybody. It's for all households, regardless of whether people in the household are members of this party or that party, regardless of ethnicity. So we are fighting for everybody. We're fighting for everybody. But more importantly, we are fighting to get the knee of this government off the backs of African people. They're squeezing all Guyanese, either by design or by default. But they are directly squeezing the section of the population that they know didn't vote for them. They are squeezing African Guyanese, a special type of squeezing. And they gotta go. The PPP has to go. They gotta go. And their enablers and friends must know there is going to be a post-PPP. People are free to affiliate themselves with whatever party they want to. We have freedom of assembly in the Constitution. But when you begin to fetch water for the PPP, when you begin to hammer people on behalf of the PPP, that's something different. And as I said last night, the way in which they're manipulating the laws to criminalize African Guyanese and opposition people. They must remember that those laws are going to be on the book when they are in the opposition. And I don't believe in the politics of revenge. I don't. That's a PPP thing. But I know a lot of supporters of the no opposition. They are going to want the government to give the PPP some of the medicine, its own medicine. Good evening. Welcome to Politics 101. We come in here tonight. Mr. Jack Dio surfaced. You know they've been coming out one by one by one. As Irfan, Anil, the head of the army, the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, the chairman of the Joint Forces. Robson Ben, Tabras. And today, Jack Dio surfaced. The man had a press conference. And some revelations were made. The man follows every episode of Politics 101. He follows everything Aubrey Norton says. He follows everything Rickford Burke says. He saw Rickford Burke in Atlanta, went to fix his camera. My guest tonight is going to be Robin Simon, political prisoner and political martyr. Jack Dio said some things today. He came after me a lot, and I expect that. He said some of us on the platform, the WPA platform, helped to kill Walter Rodney by collaborating with the PNC. Talk about breaking law. Talk about libel. Talk about libel. He instructed the police today to charge us. He said they should have charged us in the first day. But it's not just the charge. He said, when the police charge us, we will retreat. So the PPP wants the WPA to retreat. And the way they plan on getting us to retreat is to tell the police to charge us. They want us to retreat. Their statements and condemnation are not causing us to retreat. So Jack Dio instructed the police today. He's the DPP. He said, this is a matter of law and order. The police must lock us up. And when the police lock us up, we're going to retreat. So they want us to retreat. They can't get us to retreat. So he's instructing the police to charge us so that we will retreat. That is why we've saying all along, the PPP uses the police force to carry out its dirty work. If you want the WPA to retreat, do it on your own. If you get seed more than Ballinger, do it on your own. But you're enlisting the police. He's instructing the police to charge us. There you have it. There you have it. The second thing the man said today, on Sunday night, Ogunse called for power sharing as a solution to our problems. He says no to power sharing. They're not going to share power. He has closed the door on sharing power. He has closed the door ultimately on national reconciliation. On national reconciliation. No national reconciliation, says Jacques Dio. Let us remain divided. Let us remain divided, says Mr. Jacques Dio. No power sharing. He said we don't have shared values. I thought we were one Guyana. I thought we were one Guyana. That we had shared values. The man said today, we don't have shared values. So we can't share power. We are not one Guyana, says Jack Dew. So we can't share power. Some are aliens, intimates Mr. Jack Dew. It's only the PPP that belongs. The rest of us are aliens, Mr. Jack Dew insinuates. So we can't touch them. We are untouchables, says Mr. Jack Dew. He can't share government with us, says Mr. Jack Dew. We are untouchables. You all here? We are untouchables in our own country, says Mr. Jack Dew. Can't touch us. We don't share values. Mouth open, Tory jump out. The thing about Jack Dew is I have no doubt that he's a bright boy. I have no doubt that he's a bright boy. The problem with him is that he don't think with both sides of his brains. He said one thing A, and then he contradicts it with the other side A. We, the Guyanese people, live good together, and these people want to divide us. And then the next minute, he got to the other side of his brain and said we don't have shared values and we can't share power. If we are one Guyana, then that assumes we have shared values and that we can share Guyana's power. We can share the decision-making power. We can share the distributive power. But Jack Dew said, no, we don't have shared values. He's a bright boy. I'm sure he's bright. He's not a critical thinker. So he says one thing here and then says the opposite here. Contradictory. He doesn't have critical analysis skills. But that's not my fault. I never teach it. Mr. Jack Dew said that I called Gita Chandan a slave catcher, and the police should charge me for that. The police should charge me for calling Sister Gita a slave catcher. Are we going to be in jail just now, according to these people? The man then encouraged Sister Gita to sue me. He said the police should charge me for calling Sister Gita a slave catcher. Y'all see the direction we're going in? And that is why they want us off the scene. He said, Ogunse say what he said so that we can get attention. But if he knows it's attention we want, why give us it? Just leave it alone. If you are claiming WPA wants attention, so it make this statement, then don't give them the attention. You're playing into their hands, Mr. Jack Dew. But like I said, the brother doesn't have critical analysis skills. He doesn't realize that all of them are condemning us because what we said is not about attention getting, but it's about cautioning the government. Government don't like to be cautioned. I don't know if he's in touch with the brothers and sisters, but he said that in his estimation, the 4 comrades from the PNC that made the statement, they did it to get at Aubrey Norton. The man carry on. But I said to Jack Dio, Mr. Jack Dio, one black man and frighten you. One black man who is not a loyal Kikuyu. One black man who is not a slave catcher. One black man who is not a house slave. You can charge me for saying that. You all have run roughshod over this country for too long. And you all have gotten comfortable with it. Comfortable. And you all may frighten a few people, but there are many of us who are not afraid. Good evening, welcome to Politics 101. We have one of the political prisoners on tonight, Sister Robin Simon. Political prisoner, political martyr, and she's on tonight. We're not going to be talking about the case because they said when the case is before the court, you can't talk about it, sub judice. But we are going to be talking about the politics that has led to this woman being charged. Like just said it today. This is a law and order matter. The police must move swiftly and charge these people, instructing the police to charge them. And he knows that when the police charge us, we will retreat. So the objective is to get us to retreat. Jadio, you know where to get off. You know where to get off. Retreat? To go where? You know where you're playing with? You're playing with a country of people who have endured enslavement, indentureship, and other forms of oppression and have overcome it. And we're going to overcome you all. There is life after the PPP. I don't believe in the politics of revenge. But there is life after the PPP. Are you do? Are you do? There is life after the PPP. 2 morning more. 2 morning more. 2 morning more. Instructing the police to charge people because you all want people to retreat. You see, the thing about these people, like I said, I'm sure they're bright, but they ain't get political sense. And that's where we're beating them with. They don't have political sense. They're bright. But they don't have political sense. Here is that man sitting at that press conference today and spend his time cussing Hamilton Green, cussing Aubrey Norton, cussing Rickford Burke, cussing David Hines, cussing Takumo Gunse. If you see paper, you get the paper high, so high. A paper full of cuss. Cuss board. That's why you must call, cuss board Jack Dio. This is a man telling the police they must charge Ogunse for making reference to the police. This is the man that cussed the police and said the police just kick down the door and go in and rob and rape people. Jack Dio, in his own words, he's inviting the police to charge he too. Those who are condemning Ogunse, they forget Jack Dio said that. The police are kicked down the door bandits. Isn't he trying to incite people against the police force? They said Jack Dio, they said Ogunse trying to incite the police force and army against them. Is he not trying to incite his people against the army and police force? Isn't that sedition? Isn't that treason? And all those who washing them out from the WPA, they didn't wash them out from Jack Dio, who told these people, chase the elected president, chase the elected prime minister. Is he not inciting disorder? Was he not? But good for the goose and good for the gander. Pat, I tell canary, he bottom black. That man, like Gosso. You wonder sometimes, Awada. Well, I listen to the man today, Awada. Awada. Good evening, welcome to Politics 101. You see, God make laugh. And if it wasn't for laugh joke, if we didn't have the ability to laugh, we'd be in serious problems in Guyana. The atrocities, the verbal verbiage, the verbal masturbation that you hear from these people, sick your stomach. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101. My guest is here. Let's bring her in. Good evening, Sister Robin. You have to unmute yourself.
Good evening, Dr. Hines and all our wonderful viewers. Good evening.
I've been saying over and over almost every night on this program that I frequented Golden Grove after Quindon Bacchus was murdered by the state, and that you were the spearhead of certainly one of them. And all I saw you doing was organizing events. You're organizing vigils. You were organizing prayer meetings. You were organizing for people to be fed. You were organizing concerts. And the government has charged you with terrorism. The work that you have been doing to draw attention to an atrocity, that work has now made you a terrorist. And I think it's the worst curse that one can get from a government. I don't want you to talk about the case, but I want you to talk tonight as a human being, not as a political activist, as a human being, as a woman who has dedicated herself to public service, following in the footsteps of other members of your family. What is it that your government, how do you feel that your government is hounding you, is criminalizing you? How do you feel as a citizen, a human being?
First of all, I must say good evening once again. Dr. Hines, my feeling is unexplainable. But I am going to say that I am happy I experienced this because I have a story to tell my granddaughter or people's children, anyone that I meet. I would have a story to tell about this present government added to all of what my family experienced as well through the PPP government. It's just an added story. It hurts, it is disrespectful, but deep within me, a part of me, I am happy that today I can safely say that, this was just this is just an experience added to the book of my family's life, especially the pain my mother and grandmother felt for losing a brother and a son, an uncle that I never met.
And in case the audience doesn't know what you're talking about, I had the privilege a few years ago of, is that your mother or your grandmother? The one who had to move out from Enmore and come to Haslington?
My grandmother and my mother.
And your mother. I had the privilege, along with Sister Alisa Trotz, of going to that home that you now occupy and speaking. And I remember the pain in that woman's voice and body as she recounted losing family members during the civil war of the 1960s. And how she had to move from Enmore, ethnically cleansed from Enmore, and had to move to Haslington. And you are a product of that experience. And now you are facing the same kind of persecution, this time from the government. Speak to that.
Yes, same government. Yes, same government. Same government, because it was in the time of PPP. It was not C at that time. And now I am experiencing this at this time. But Dr. Hines, I'm going to say, Muhammad Ali, the great Muhammad Ali, has a daughter who picked up boxing just like her father. She never lost a race. I was looking at her documentary a couple times back. She never lost a fight. Sorry. One day, they had a fight, and she sustained bruises about the eyes, I think, and the lips, and everybody thought that she was gonna lose this fight. But then she regained her strength and came back and won the fight. It was a rematch, and she won that fight. And the reporters asked her, they said to her, "How did you do it?" And she said to them, I looked at my father and all the fights he won. It was a struggle for him. And I'm going to say this tonight, that my African brothers and sisters, we have to see ourselves as Muhammad Ali's daughter. She looked up to her father. We have to look up now to our foreparents and remember what our foreparents fought for and stand up to win this fight, because without there can never be a change if we do not have a radical structural change. We have to see ourselves as Muhammad Ali's daughter and stand up and reclaim what is ours, because our foreparents did it for us. So we have to do it now for our children and our children's children. And we have to win this as a collective body of people. Take the chain and let's go. We have to break this racism thing. And people just living normal and comfortable with this thing. We have to wake up. It's time.
We have to wake up.
It's time.
It's time. Mr. Jack Dio, now that I know you watch my program, I'm not honored. You're not an honored guest. You're not an honored viewer. But I'm glad you watch because there's some things you can learn from this show. But quite apart from that, watch this young woman. Watch the pain you have caused. Watch at this woman and ask yourself what an asset to our country she is and can be. And because of your decadent mode of governance, she has to spend her time resisting. But as Brother Jimmy Cliff said, as sure as the sun will shine, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get what's mine. As sure as the sun will shine, I'm going to get mine. That's what the sister is saying here tonight. And I know she's a Christian. And she'll say, because he lives, we will face tomorrow.
Yes.
We will face tomorrow.
Yes.
We are not done today. We will face tomorrow.
Exactly.
Who will have to jail 200 and 1,000 of us? Take some of the oil money and build more jails. Because like those little children, during the civil rights struggle in the United States of America, 12 and 13, facing down bull corners and prepared to go to jail. We are prepared to go to jail. You can order the police. 200 and 1,000 of us will fill your jails. But when we come out, Martin Carter said, I will come alive again and laugh again and walk out of those prisons. And you know, when we walk out of those prisons, there is life after the PPP Jack deal. Understand that. Understand that this time in a long time, you have some fearless, you have some fearless black brothers and sisters waiting on you. You get more see than Ballinger. You get more see that we shall see. Robin,
Yes, Doctor.
let me take you back to Quinton Bacchus's murder last year. Has that wound closed?
No, Dr. Hines. While I, and I know my sisters, the other protesters who I joined, because remember, I joined the protest and I became fully a part of the protest. The wound hasn't healed. And now, even worse, it's like a constant reminder, because it's as though you're everywhere you turn, it's Quindon Bacchus's case. Everywhere you turn, something comes up that always relates to this young man. That's one. And two, justice still hasn't been served. So the wound cannot be healed for me, my other fellow sisters and brothers, the parents of Quindon Bacchus. The wound can never be healed. It can never be healed. Because onto a day like today, the president of Guyana did not stand in solidarity as this same Jagdio did, who mentioned a couple weeks back that he understands the plight. Well, let's say he understands how we feel. And the elements as he described the people or the persons who choose the cry or the cause that we were fighting for to do whatever, I don't know. He called them elements, forgetting that within his party, in the higher chair, the people who are governing this country, they themselves are elements, are still out there. Some of the elements are being promoted just after Quindon Bacchus's murder. Some of these elements are promoted. Then we have three African Guyanese brothers facing the charges for something that was done as a team as a team of young men who came up on this sting for Quindon Bacchus. So the wound can never be healed because we are still looking at the fact that um Brother McKinnon, as I should call him, he was stripped of his job and everything. The reports show that he was no part of certain things, yet he was there, but he is being victimized. I am going to say that. The other officer who took the case to CID, he is facing his spirits, his demons. And then we have Mr. This one, Christoph, who is locked away. But then what about the other officers who were there? We called on the DPP for them to reopen this case, reopen this investigation. They never did. Where we were in Georgetown in the rain protesting, sun, rain, you name it, and nobody paid attention to those protests and our cries. So no, the wounds can never be healed because people are still out there scotch free that had a hand in Quindon Bacchus's murder. It can never be healed. It can never be healed.
The voice and the emotions of a Black woman. And Black women have been singled out by this regime. From the woman who was spat upon to the woman lawyer that was locked up for doing what lawyers do. To that young woman, the police kneeling on her back at Moko, Arcadia. To our own Rhonda Lane, who they are seeking to throw to the lions. To all our women who have to endure the hardships that have been imposed upon them, the cries of our women, the tears of our women are on this government. And we know from folklore that when people cry upon you, it means you have done wrong. There is life after the PPP. There is life. You all charge me for that. You all got about 15 charges I'm going to give you all tonight to charge me with. There's life after the PPP. I had an occasion when the WPA held that public meeting in Golden Grove a few years ago. The mother and the grandmother of Quindon were there and they came over to me. And in those circumstances, you ask yourself, what can I tell these two women who have lost a son and a grandson, who have to take care of a grandchild, who have to carry that burden, who have to look at that empty chair of their son and their grandson. I saw the pain. Even though they may try to hide it, the pain is there. The bloody hands of this government. Sister Robin, you were charged. You passed through court. I was out there that morning when you came out, and you came over and you hugged all of us. And I can feel the determination in you to make a difference. And so 2 days ago, you were poised. To lead another march. And you all applied to the police for permission, and they denied permission. Oh, in a democracy, You deny your people the right to march, and you call yourself a democracy. But more than that, you assassinated Quindon Bacchus one more time by denying his people the right to march. You slapped another round of charges against Robin Simon and the 12 or 13 brothers by denying them the right to march. Why do you fear the shuffling feet of African people in Guyana? Why do you fear the shuffling feet on the earth in which our foreparents' blood and bones are crushed? Why do you fear our shuffling feet? Robin, why do
Yes,
they
sir.
fear our shuffling feet?
Because they honestly know that with togetherness we have strength. They honestly know that they are not ready to eat the piece of cake that they are trying to cut. You know, they did not pause me. When I took the letter there, although they denied the march, that denial of the march was just proof of what we're dealing with.
Mhm.
It's an added piece of evidence to the corruption of the Guyana police force and showing to the world that politics is playing a major part within the police force, including racism.
Including racism, including
They
race.
just gave me 2 letters that I'm going to keep as evidence. You see, they did not know what they did to me. They didn't fully understand. Mr. Pajram may have taken orders or he just decided to do whatever he thinks, but he does not understand what he did. He played right into my camp. He played right into, they have once again played into my camp. They have played once again into my camp because you have denied me my right to, to a peaceful march, to a peaceful protest. You have trampled on my right. So they have just given me evidence again to show the world that we have a big problem in Guyana, which can never be solved if we do not have a change. And I need that change. I need that change for my children. I need that change for my grandchildren. I need that change for my senior citizens. I need that change for my ancestors to rest in peace. Because right now we are disturbing them, we are waking them up, we are
Yeah,
calling them, we are summoning them to intervene with the mercy and the strength of God. We need their intervention at a time like this. That is what we know. We need to continue to disturb our ancestors and hold on to them and not let go until we have a change. There must be a change for all Guyanese to benefit from what our ancestors fought for, which is our freedom and our rights. They've played into my camp.
they played into my camp the voice, the passion of a woman who was being scorned by your government, but know that you have not been scorned by your people. We stand by you, we stand with you. You are our martyr. I want to get your perspective on something.
Go right ahead.
You see, politics for me is not just party and It's also about humanity. You know, your family place, I remember 20 years ago and probably more, it used to be where we went every Thursday night, karaoke. And I know that you come from a family of business. You yourself are into business. Yet you hear people say that black people can't do business and black people this and black people that. And we don't like to ban, we belly, we like to sport. And so we can't do business. As if there is something biological about doing business, you know? Your head got screwed
Yes.
on a certain way.
Yes.
Your family has been doing business from
All
then
the time.
to now.
All
From
the
then
time.
to now. Give me your
All the
perspective
time.
on that obscenity that black people can't do business.
Dr. Hines, when our foreparents came to, when they brought our foreparents as slaves, they were not dunces. Our foreparents were not dunces. They fought a battle right on the massa nose, and massa did not even know. So black people are not dunces. We, in this, listen, first of all, before I go any further, I am so dedicated to this struggle. I have stepped aside from my business. I am not currently working. My focus is the struggle right now. That is my focus, getting out there. But you see, the African race, our African brothers and sisters, we know what we want and we go after it. Some of us may be a little slow on our achievements, but when it comes to this all creating of business and working on growth for our people, we do not have the chance like other races do. We do not have the chance. We do not have the opportunity like other races do, because our forefathers and our foreparents and some of our ancestors and our seniors, our senior citizens, some of them had to work, forget about schooling, so that they can help to provide. Because you know what? Our foreparents were not paid. They were slaves. They were not paid. So it's not that riches came directly from the slaves that came, especially Guyana. I'm talking about my Guyanese culture here right now. Our people were not paid. They were slaves. And some of our seniors did not get a chance to be educated because they have to work and they had to work. That was taken away from them. So all in all, if the people are not given an opportunity, if some people can go to the bank and get loans, not all black people gonna go to the bank and get loans. They're not. And we as Afro-Guyanese, we need to come together and create maybe a bank or some lenders program, something that we can do. All our African brothers and sisters who are financially empowered, you have it. We need to come together and try to empower our people, because we are not a dumb race. It's just situations that sets us back. But put us out there, we can do it. But we have to be given the same opportunity as every other race. So it gone back to the same thing. We need to have a change, and not even remember, make sure that whatever change we have works for the benefit of everyone, all Guyanese. That is what we have to make sure. We have to make sure that the change works for all Guyanese, because that is the way we all should be living in the first place. We have so many business ideas and business plans and things that we all can do, but some of us do not have the capital to start it. And they do not have anyone they can go to, who they can rely on, who they can come to with a plan and say, this is what I want to do. And then we can be guided on it. We do not have that set up for our African brothers and sisters. We do not have it. So we are deemed as hooligans and thugs and monkeys and hungry belly dogs and slaves, which they're going to call us, and niggers and all of that, because we are not in the position to do certain things.
The passionate voice there of Robin Simon. Good evening to all the family. I see Dr. Karen Elliott on. I see the Peterkins on. Good evening to you. Good evening to the people of Golden Grove, Haslington, Nabaklis. The profound points made here tonight are in order. When independence came, our people had to go and guard our borders. When independence came, our people had to keep the peace in the police force. When independence came, our people had to teach the nation's children. When independence came, our people had to nurse the nation's sick. When independence came, our people had to mine the bauxite and the gold. If we had to protect this country, while others made money, because they didn't have to protect the country, they didn't have to police the country, they didn't have to teach the country, they didn't have to nurse the country, little money, they could accumulate wealth behind our backs, and then they have the temerity to watch us today and tell us we ain't get wealth because we're lazy. A set of ungrateful people. Ungrateful people. And I'm not talking here about the ordinary Indian people, because even if they say it, it's because they've been socialized to say it by the wicked leaders. We have given this country so much, and all this country can give us is jails, charges, bulldozers. But we are in fighting mood. This is a season of resistance. And we're going to build that resistance one by one. We are going to wake our people up and say to them, be ready. Be ready to take back your birthright that was taken away from you by this government. Be ready to take back your human rights that have been taken by this government. Only we can retake it. Nobody, not the Americans, not our Indian and Amerindian brothers and sisters can do it for us. We have got to do it for ourselves. Frederick Douglass, the great African-American freedom fighter, says, power concedes nothing without a demand. Jack, do you understand that? And that's why he wants us to retreat. And he's telling the police, charge us so that we will retreat. Because he figure they charge Lowenfield, they charge Myers, they charge Trevor Ben, they charge all the African brothers and sisters with the hope that we would retreat. But we are saying to them on this day, in this time, no retreat, no surrender. No retreat, no surrender, Barrett. If you didn't think you meet your meter now in the great awakening of our people. The great awakening of our people. The great awakening of our people. Sister Robin?
Yes, Dr. Hines.
Women have been singled out. I called some names and I'm sure I missed some names. In this period, spitting on women, kneeling on women. We come from a matriarchal culture in Africa. In Egypt, in ancient Egypt, the women owned the property, not the men. The women owned property, not the men. Long before they were talking about women president, we had women leaders, the queens. We come from a culture in which women were central to the shaping of our cosmos. Why do you think they're singling out women? Why do you think they're singling out women?
Because we have the strength, Dr. Hines. We are brutal. Women can be very brutal. You understand? Because we know the pain of bearing children. We know the pain. We are the ones in the homes who has to balance the little bit of money that we have. We know what the child or our children, when they look up to us, fathers may have left the house to go to work, pay mothers may become single mothers, and all of the whole cries of this nation. But when our children look to us and say, I am hungry and I cannot provide that lunch or the dinner or breakfast or something for that child to eat, it hurts. We know that pain. I'm not saying fathers do not know the pain. But you see, us mothers, we are judges, although we never went to school for it. We are nurses. We never went to school for it. We are doctors. We never went to school for it. We are even teachers. We are security. Women has the mindset to be prepared and takes on the role of every career within a home. So we are brutal when we get ready because we have to make all those decisions sometimes on our own. On our own. So when women are tired and women don't want to see certain things and we start to cry and we begin to cry, the cry of a mother is one of the hardest things that anyone can experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I have experienced it because I have been in so many places, charity work along the way. I have done so much. And I have seen the cry of women. So they have to single us out because they want to silence us. They know if we come out and we say justice, the men are going to stand behind us to support us. So they want to silence us. So you know what? We're going to pick up each and every one of them. But if another sister gets picked up, I am trusting in God that whenever she comes out just like me, she is going to be even stronger than when she would have been arrested or they label her a terrorist. Right now, I am wonderful and I am happy and I am proud to know that I lend my voice for Quindon Bacchus. And if I had to do it again, Dr. Hines, I will definitely do it again. I will definitely do it again. It's time more women come to front because we are the ones who will have to lead this struggle and let our men be our support. It's time we wake up and smell the fresh air of change that is coming, because we have to make sure that our children are provided for. Because when we would have been called to a great beyond, we must not have to worry about our children. We must know, we must die in peace, knowing that our children are okay because we fought for that. Our forefathers fought for us and we have to fight for them. So
Woman,
they have to single us out.
yes, woman hold her head and cry, for her son has been shot down in the street and die, all because of the system. Johnny was a good man. Quindon Bacchus, Orrin Boston, the Henry Boys, Peter Headley, and all the other names that have not floated up to the top. They were snatched away by the system. We've got to change the system. We've got to change the
Yes.
system.
Yes, we do.
Fundamental transformation is what we need. And we need more soldiers. We need more soldiers to come out in the open. Some of us will have to fight in the shadows.
Yes.
But some of us and more of us must come into the open. How has the support been coming your way since they have made you into a martyr?
Every day, Dr. Hines, every day it's a prayer, it's a word of encouragement. It's like God has, like, it's as though God is repaying me for my tears. He is blessing me every day with bountiful of prayers and strength, added strength that has been given to me, whether I am outside, on the phone, in my inbox. Every day, every second of the day that I turn, more and more of my brothers and sisters, they're reaching out. They are lending me their support. But I want to encourage everybody to not only lend me your support with your words. Those of you who are in Guyana currently, I want to borrow your two legs as well and your voices. I need that. We need that. We have to show that we are strong in numbers. We cannot have change if everybody is not sounding or crying or shouting or giving out this one message. We need your strength. We need to borrow your legs and your voices. Because people now, everybody falls on this live. Everybody now most people now are protesting on the live. When you go live on the protest, people are staying in and they're shouting. That is only for the people who are out of this country. Those of you who are living in Guyana, I know you're afraid of victimization and all of that, but we need your strength out there because you're experiencing it just as we are experiencing it. We need your financial support. If you can't come, you support in whatever way, because when the time would come again for us to say, let's take the streets to cry so that our sweat can fall on the ground, to muster and grow because of what we are fighting for, we need added strength. I love the fact that people are embracing me, but what I would love even more is to see people are coming to me and ask me, sis, when are you ready? Especially the women, especially my sisters. When are you ready? That is what I am not seeing. I am seeing the hugs and the kisses. We are seeing the financial donation towards the legal fees and towards the cries of the people. We're seeing that. But what we want to see more is our people in action. We want to have more persons on the ground who just ready. Sis, when are you? Because everybody's gonna tell me, oh, Robin, do this, do Robin, do this. But how many persons are willing to stand up with me and by me, around me? But nevertheless, it is a struggle, and if I have to do it alone, I will.
That's the voice of a strong woman, a woman of conviction, and she's making the call to translate our goodwill, to translate our indignation into action. I'm using our words here, into action. Uh, we must beat fear. We must overcome fear. We must overcome fear. Because if we don't overcome it, we will be consumed by it. And that will open the doors further for the men of the night, the dark men with dark minds, to come in and to continue their plan to slaughter us. But we are human beings. We are endowed with all the attributes that our Almighty God has endowed the human species with. We are endowed with all the attributes that our ancestors who walked this earth at one point or the other have left behind for us. We are Haiti, we are Zulu. We are Haitians, we are Fulani. We are Guyanese, and we are Igbo and Yoruba. Calling all them Zulu, calling all them Igbos. It's time to take your stance and be ready to make your own sacrifice for your own
Yes,
freedom.
we
For
have
your
to.
own freedom. Sister Robin, closing
Yes.
thoughts. Closing thoughts.
What we have to remember, the story of the Good Samaritan. While we while we as a people will try to help each other along the way, we cannot always rely on individual assistance. We have to come together in order to be more helpful to all our people. We have to understand that there is no excuse. Don't tell me that you're afraid. You're afraid to come out? Put on a mask. COVID is still active in Guyana. Put on a mask. Put on a hat if that is how you have to come out. If that is how you have to stand. You cannot continue to say that you're afraid, because we're not going to always have somebody to render individual assistance to you, to me. If we do not create a body and create a network, if we do not come together as one big satellite field to demand what we deserve, then we are nowhere. We will continue to be below every other race. And I'm talking to us Afro-Guyanese, my fellow Africans. We cannot always assist individuals one by one. Okay, I'm going to go out and fight, and then I'm going to come back and give you, and one by one. We have to do it together. It is unfair. It is unfair to know that our people are suffering. Oh, yes, we know that all over the world, cost of living, everything is high, everything gone up. But this oil rich country of ours, Guyana, still our people suffering? Still? No. So we have to do something about that. Structural change. And
Structural.
we have to do it now. This is the time. We have to do it for all the races of this country. Some ain't gonna enjoy and some ain't gonna do it. Some ain't gonna get, and some the friends and cronies of the government is not gonna enjoy bacon and egg, while our people just eating bare tennis roll with not even a little bit of butter and water. I am saying enough is enough, and we are demanding a change. And if we have to do it, let's do it. But we can only do it with the strength, and people stop selling out each other. We have a problem, Dr. Hines. We have a problem. We are experiencing a problem, a very serious problem. Don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah.
But we are going to flush out those persons who are undermining us one by one. Enough is enough. That is all I have to say.
Enough is enough, Sister Robin. Thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing your wisdom with us, sharing your emotions with us, because you spoke not just with your voice, you spoke with that inner spirit tonight, and I can feel it in my bones. And lots of the viewers here, by their comments, have felt the feeling. You know, the mighty shadows say, feeling the feeling. You're feeling the feeling, and we are a feeling people, and we have felt the vibes coming from you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you too for having me.
I shall be having you back sooner rather than later. And to your audience, what can I say? You've been there with us from day one, and you continue to be with us. You are respectful people. You don't curse people and tell them about their hungry belly. They come on here and they try to taunt you, but you all have been disciplined. Not only do we want to change the government and to have a government that is responsive to all the people, but we want our people, our African people, our opposition supporters, to be an example of what civility is, to be an example of what racial and ethnic respect is. We want to be an example of what it is to be human. How many times have we died? We died on the shores of Africa. We died on the plantations of the master. We died in our villages when they flooded our villages. We died at independence with Burnham and Jagan. How many times can we die? We have learned to die and to rise from the dead. We have learned how to die, but we can teach the world how to live. Because every time they count us out, we come back stronger than ever, stronger than ever. And this time, we shall rise again, we shall rise again. Peter Tosh said, arise, black man, arise. Arise and know thyself. Paraphrasing Marcus Messiah Garvey. Arise and know yourself. Never mind who trembles when you arise. Never mind who charges me or other mouthpieces for sedition, because we ask you to arise. Arise, black man. Arise, black woman. Arise and know thyself. Arise and take your equal place as Guyanese. Barrett, I know you're watching. And you know, Yoruba alike. You know, I never cuss you. I cuss Irfan, I never cuss you. But you tell yourself that you's a badass. That's what you tell yourself when you just stalk out the thorn. And every time you do that, all you do is radicalize our people. Keep talking, Barrett. Do we work for we? Radicalize our people so that they can trip you off your scales of power. Tomorrow night, Black Matters. I think Ogunse is going to be here tomorrow night. I think Ogunse is going to be. Barrett, Ogunse might be here tomorrow night. Make sure you come on early and wait for the show. Tomorrow night, we shall be here again. We shall be here. We shall be here to keep ponging them, pushing them till they fall on their own. They have children in the audience. I will say no more. I will say no more. Good night. Until tomorrow night. Black Matters. Black Matters.